So now, since we're talking about being Black and who's Black and how they Black and what makes them Black, Kamala Harris, I mean, come on, she's gotten a lot of grief. As a matter of fact, a whole entire smear campaign insinuating that she was not Black at all because her lineage does not include enslaved African Americans. Why is this an issue for some people? And Connie, I know you want us to come to you, but I'm going to Dr. Humber first.
Okay, well, her lineage may not have included United States African Americans, but it certainly included enslaved Jamaicans. So how do you think the Black folks got to Jamaica? You know, I have not been aware of all that is said. I just read an article. First of all, she grew up in white spaces, father at Stanford, mother a scientist, but lived in Oakland in the Berkeley area. Babysitter was a Black woman, and I just read an article where the babysitter would take them in the basement and teach them Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, so forth and so on. The fact that she knew she needed to go to Howard. I didn't get to Howard till I was in my 40s because I'd gone to predominantly white schools. Someone said, Tony, she acts like she's white. Howard called me and I went in my 40s. She went as an undergrad. She could have gone to Stanford. Her father was teaching at Stanford. That says something. The fact that she chose to join a sorority. It happened to be Alpha Kappa Alpha, which I'm a member of. Okay, that's fine.
That's so.
But to take her Blackness away because she's married to a white man, then there are a whole lot of basketball players, football players that need to be lined up, and their Blackness should be taken away, which is ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing.
You know, but she is of African descent. That's why I go back of African descent. You know, and her mother was Indian. She was of the Brahmin class, the higher caste of Brahmins. But she's clearly, if you bifurcate and say she's one half of African descent, she's a Black woman.
Connie?
Kamala Harris is a Black woman. Kamala Harris is not an African American woman, as evidenced by the fact that her birth certificate, her mother put that she was white. Her mother herself, the mom, claimed that she was white when she's a Black Indian of the upper class Brahmin.
Brahmin, yes.
Kamala, every time she's been sworn into any office, she swore in as an Indian American. She didn't start becoming African American until she started running for office. No one's saying that she's not Black. I've made that clear. There's all types of Black people. She is not an African American, and she hasn't. It seems like everybody on this panel, we all grew up in white spaces. So we all understand what it is to have.
Not me.
Oh.
Well, you're not on the panel. You're the host.
Oh, okay.
We all understand what it's like to be a very unique individual and having a certain lived experience. So what ADOS is saying is Kamala is very suspect because she keeps identifying as other until it benefits her. And what we're seeing quite often, there's a video, if you Google it, when Kamala was asked, why do you advocate for specifically for every other group? What are you going to do for Black people? She got real Black. She wagged her head. She said, let me tell you something. I'm not doing anything specifically for Black people. Google it if you don't believe me. And that type of thinking is where ADOS is having a problem. This is lived experience. Please give me about 30 more seconds. This is very important to our movement. What's been happening is ADOS has always had a Pan-African mindset. We've always been happy for everyone with Black skin. But then what we're seeing is everybody else is saying, you guys aren't African, you're not Caribbean, you're not this, you don't have any culture. And so what we're saying is, why can't we all have, I think Dr. Humber spoke about landmass. We're Americans. We've been so disassociated with Africa for so long. I know I'm of African descent, but back to Kamala, when you have immigrant parents, they have a different outlook on life. And they keep telling us, stop complaining, stop whining. Well, our whining and our complaining is what got immigrants here. Our civil rights leaders were instrumental in getting the Immigration Act of 1965 passed, Africans, Mexicans, and Asians were specifically excluded from immigrating here. And we fought for that door to open, only now to have our own Black brothers and sisters come here and tell us to stop being lazy. They're using white supremacist talking points against us and telling us, look, we're making it, why aren't you? Well, you are coming from another country. They pick the best that are allowed into this country, specifically Black people, have a higher standard. So the best are coming here. You're coming here to go to school, or you're wealthy. So
understood, Connie. We take that. I gave you your 30. I gave you a little over your 30. But I do want to talk about you saying Kamala is suspect in her Blackness. You say she's suspect because she changes it to benefit her, or she changes it to use it for her advantage. Angel, do you agree with that?
Why you gonna put me on the spot?
Well, because she's your soror, she's your alumni. Y'all got a whole lot in common.
Don't put your sorority before the betterment of all Black people. Your allegiance to Black people.
Oof. I believe the sorority. I do believe that, even though I'm not a part of the sorority, I do believe that Black sororities invest a lot in the Black community, and specifically are there for the betterment of the Black community. Did I get that wrong, Angel?
No, not at all. So I will say this, and I'm going to be very diplomatic in my response. Okay. I feel like I am not well versed in her history like Connie is. So I don't feel comfortable speaking to something that I cannot say, oh, I've seen that clip, or I've seen this, that, and the third. Now, what I can say is that at the end of the day, based on what you have said, she is Black. She is still the first nominee to be vice president. Regardless of what we look at, she's a Black woman. She may not be African descent. She may not be all of the things that are being pointed out. But we cannot take away from her that she is the first Black VP that is a woman.
Even if she herself checks the Indian American box?
So I think in regards to that, I mean, I guess I had to just call it a spade a spade. Like, if we go back to the conversation of what we said before about the white women who have portrayed themselves as Black and all of that, I think that a lot of people, they take it upon amongst themselves to identify or to do whatever is necessary that's in their best interest.
That's a great point. I love that point, because I'm going to go to you on this, Cole. What's wrong with picking the box that's going to get you ahead of the game? What's wrong with playing the game if it gets you where you need to get?
Well, I think that sort of disingenuous behavior in that regard. I mean, like picking one just for its advantages without.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't necessarily see it as disingenuous behavior. I actually see it as, oh, so you're going to put me in a box and you're going to stop me from doing certain things because I'm a certain color. Well, I'm just going to lie and say I'm something else, or I'm just going to use the part of me that you respect and that you'll promote. So I think it's different than being disingenuous. I think it's using what you have to your advantage.
Yeah. So I think we're talking about two different examples. When we're talking about sort of white women passing as Black, that is on its face disingenuous. And that is attempting to claim the privileges without the disadvantages. No, when you're talking about Kamala, I think that the fundamental issue I have with this conversation we're having is there's two of them. One, Angel and I specifically were just talking about the difficulties that were imposed on us when other people were trying to use their own litmus tests to judge our Blackness. So there must be some hypocrisy here when we 10 minutes later are doing the same thing, imposing the same standards that were not of our own making on Kamala. So I think that there's just hypocrisy there. I mean, frankly, like, this woman went to Howard and was an AKA. If she doesn't pass as Black, then Lord knows I don't. So that's one.
And by the way, you wore Timberlands today.
Right. So just in case you missed it. Right.
Leave my Laura alone.
Yeah.
She'll pull out she's gonna pull a hot sauce out her purse next, right?
Well, but then I just want to say, and I think that's a ridiculous comment, but then I just want to say too, that to say that she checked the Indian box and therefore she cannot be black. Look, similar to Angel, I am not close enough
she's black. She's black.
Okay.
I've said that 20 times.
She did say
okay, well,
she said she's not African American.
Okay, what I am
that's when she didn't identify as an African person.
Go ahead, Cole.
What I am saying is that what I'm trying to say that to impose, I think that we should be able to use her Indianness as evidence that she is not close to her black lineage or African American. I think that is wrong. I think that she can be both. And I am not one to judge that trajectory.
But if any group should unite, it's all Black people. So if you do what's only best for you, how do we get ahead? We're the most oppressed people in the world. So everybody else, even Latinos, identify as white. And so now we're just going to scatter,
maybe we get ahead by becoming the vice president of the United States. Who knows?